Shut up and sit down.
Hello everybody and welcome to Beyond the Story Takeover edition. My name is Ryan Lloyd and this is the incomparable Noxolo Nox Dlamini. Welcome, and I hope you enjoy this quick conversation. Welcome to you too. So before we start, do you prefer Noxolo? Do you prefer Nox?
I like Noxolo.
Okay.
But some people do call me Nox.
Okay.
Well, I don't really mind. But I think, yeah, I like Noxolo.
Okay,
Yeah.
deal, we'll keep it there.
And you say it so well.
I had to practice, but we got there. So, my first question, because I mean, when I was introduced to you at first was with Nina Simone for Women, and then as I got to know more about you, I was like, hold on, this honey is ridiculously talented. I mean, she's been everywhere. She's done everything. You've been on the West End. You've been here in multiple productions. But my question now is, how would you describe yourself?
That is always so difficult. My goodness. I love the sun.
Okay.
I love being outside. I love breaking a sweat.
Mm-hmm.
I love to love. I love to be loved.
Yes.
I love being in loving environments. I'd say I'm a positive person. I really try to be a positive person, try to be a kind person, and I love to do what I love, you know. So I really function well on love. I really do, and just positive energy. So I think that's kind of Nox in a nutshell.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
But so, would you say that the arts is a love of yours, or is it more being on stage? Is it performance? Would you say that that is a love, and which one?
Definitely. I think also because it's really playing, you know, and I think that's why I love it so much. I'm a very playful person.
Yeah.
Getting me to be serious can be like a Nox. Pull it together now, you know. But for me, what I do is playing, and it's what makes me happy and excited, and it's fun for me.
Yeah.
You know, choosing is so difficult. Theatre's always been my first love. I mean, I've been doing so much film and television lately that my heart's just like, can I just do like one, you know, production right now? You know, it's definitely my first love because I love being with people. So getting to perform live is always so heartwarming, and I always just feel like I'm sharing a gift, you know. So theater, I love it, but film's also really it's right behind it, you know. I absolutely love being in the space, and I love the people that we get to work with, you know, just working with all the different departments. But yeah, I think theater is there, and film is a very close second, very close. Yeah.
But so, what got you into film? Did you? Because what I've been seeing with a lot of artists lately is that was a COVID thing, or was a reaction to that. For others, it's always, well, it might have been a dream to be on screen, but they started on stage, or it's just a love of both. What would you say your journey was with that?
You know, it's so crazy. I never wanted to do TV and film.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing I wanted to do. I used to say I want to be on Broadway. Before I even knew what Broadway actually was, I wanted to be on Broadway.
Yep.
Then I actually knew what Broadway was, and I was like, I want to be on Broadway. You know? But it's I did musical theater. I started with Lion King, and then I did Sarafina, and then I did Lion King again.
Yeah.
I did Sarafina again, and I think it was my last Lion King that I did, and I just went through something that made me just go, I want to try something different, you know. And at that time, a lot of people were saying, you have such a TV face. And I was like, what does that even mean? You know, but thank you. You know, thanks, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So when I was finishing off with Lion King the second time, I said to myself, I'm gonna do television.
I wake up every morning. It's the same thing all over again.
You're late again.
You know I'm taking care of my entire family.
It isn't.
You keep wondering when your day will come to an end.
I said to my agent, stop sending me briefs for theatre.
Yeah.
If you get television briefs, send me those.
Yeah.
And that's just how I got into it. I thought I wanted to do it earlier in my life, but theatre was still really like dominant in it and in my life. So it happened later on, and I believe it happened right at the right time. It was just before COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I was already in it.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't I have to make the transition. So it was definitely that. It was just a feeling I had, and I wanted to try something new and different.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you studied in Pretoria, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that, actually before I ask that, was your idea going into varsity from the beginning to study the arts? In that case, was that something that was cultivated from a very young age? What led you to that?
I always did theatre.
Okay.
I started in primary school. It started with I was very lucky that the primary school I went to, we had music, dance, drama, and art as our subjects. So I knew art was my worst, and I was just like, I have a project that we have to do, and now we're doing there was this wide, I don't remember what it's called, but it's making an entire picture with just dots.
Yeah.
And that was one of our projects.
Yeah.
So every day, every art lesson we had to complete our, I was just like, Lord, can we go to drama and dance already? you know?
Yeah.
But I was very lucky that I had that. And I had a drama teacher who saw me at a young age that, this little girl could do well.
Yeah.
You know, and I just always knew I wanted to be an actress. I used to say I want to be an actress, a dancer, and a singer.
Yeah.
And then I got to be exactly that.
Okay.
So it was something I always knew I wanted to do. And when I was going into varsity, I said to my mom, I want to do drama, obviously.
Yeah.
And she was like, what do you mean? We've always known this.
Yeah.
I went to National School of the Arts to do drama. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? She said, I thought maybe you would do something in science. I was like, man, look, I did science, but I was never great at it. I was not good at it. Also because I just knew what I wanted to do. I was like, I don't want to waste my time doing other things. I want to work on it and be great at it and grow with it.
Yeah.
You know, so I always knew. So I applied for drama and zoology because my mom was like, try something else. I was just like, I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I ended up just doing it for 3 years, and I got my degree.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I mean, I had a similar thing where also it was architecture, music, and eventually I was like, cool, the universe will decide. And it did, and it was music. But I ended up completely moving away from music. I mean, I then started doing graphic design at the market, and now it's a completely different space where I'm like, oh my word, it's so exciting, it's so cool, and found a passion in this. In the same way that I know the music industry was different to theatre and how I grew a different love for that, would you say that there's a difference in what's happening in the local theatre industry versus internationally? And what for you is the most exciting in that?
You know, I think the most exciting thing about theatre internationally is just how supported it is.
Okay.
You know you're going to fill up a huge theatre.
Yeah.
Right. In South Africa, you're hoping you're going to fill up the huge theatre.
Yeah.
But also, South African work is obviously close to my heart.
Yeah.
You know, so I love doing theatre at home. But it's always a cherry on top to be able to do it for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess it's different in that regard, but I love home, and I love what we produce at home as well. So I'll always be biased and say home. You know, is really amazing. But I think anyone who can travel with their work is very blessed. And if the opportunity comes about, then I'd say do it.
Yeah.
You know, so Yeah.
Okay.
There are pros and cons in both.
Yeah. I find it so interesting to see how different people feel differently about that. I mean, for a lot of local artists, it's a thing of, right, I want to get into the overseas market and I want to move over, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like Tonys, Oscars, Grammys. It's never like, oh, let's be home. And I find it so rich when you have local artists who are overseas but still come back and say this is home, and I think that's awesome. But what is it that draws you back? Is it just having grown up here? Is it something within the culture here?
It's definitely the culture. It's definitely the people.
Yeah.
It's what I'm connected to. You know, I mean, besides the fact that South Africa has amazing weather.
Yeah.
And this year's been a bit of a,
Don't even.
so we're gonna forgive this year. But it's home. It
Yeah.
really is home, and I love stories from home, and I'm big on them. I want our stories to be told more.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I'm always saying it's so great to be able to travel with your work. If there's a production that we make here at home and we get to travel with it, I love it.
Yeah.
Because I guess it feels like we're sharing our stories, because that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I'll always come home. There'll always be but
Yeah.
you kind of come home anyway.
Yeah.
That's me. I love being able to work at home. Yeah.
And when you say that you love sharing stories, is there a South African story that you would love to share abroad? Is there something that resonates with you very deeply here?
I've always wanted to tell stories about the Zulu culture. Firstly, because I never grew up Zulu. So I'm Zulu. My mom's Tswana, my father was Zulu. They were married, so I'm Zulu.
Yeah.
But I never grew up in the Zulu culture. But growing up, like being able to have access to learning more about it, I've really grown such a fondness and a love for it.
Yeah.
That there's so many stories that I feel like would be great to be told, even if they're new stories, created stories, because there's so many things in the Zulu culture that I love. Like I love the stick fighting.
Yeah.
But women don't do it.
Yeah.
You know? And I remember there was a film that a friend of mine was making, and he wanted me to play the girl who wants to do stick fighting.
Yeah.
Called Ndugu on Showmax, and I wasn't able to play it, but he was just like, Nox, I wrote this for you.
Oh, wow.
When I wrote this was Noxolo's going to play this role. And I was like,
Okay.
that's perfect, because that's so me. You know, that's the story I would love to tell.
Yeah.
That's a story I'd love to tell. And but watching it, I was just like, there's so many more. You know,
Yeah.
so many more that I would love to be a part of as well, and be able to tell. So yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm always blessed to tell stories from the past.
Yeah.
Like I did Sarafina, and recently Silverton Siege came out, and they're all period. You know,
Yeah.
They're all set in those times, and I feel like I'm always blessed to tell stories like that, and
Yeah.
I would love to continue to, you know, because it's a big part of our history, and I always believe in not forgetting where we come from.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, when we did Nina Simone for Women here, I mean, we oftentimes, when we think of like Black History Month, and even when we celebrate it here, we curate international artists. We curate, you know, your Nina Simone's, or like we did Paradise Blue, I think it was last year or the year before. Do you think that the international market is ready to look at the history from South Africa to say, cool, this is a different side of it, and not just look at your jazz legends from overseas, or not even just local legendary artists, but look at other stories, like Zulu stories or so on? Do you think that would translate well internationally?
Definitely. I feel like lately there's like especially the African diaspora, there's such a yearning for knowing our culture and where we come from, and I feel like it's a perfect time.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like they want to be a part of telling the stories as well. They want to be able to learn more about it.
Yeah.
And what's lovely is that I feel like the industries are so much closer than they used to be,
Yeah.
that we we get to play our stories now, even with international budgets,
Yeah.
So it's a win for everybody. We get to tell our stories abroad. Everyone gets to be a part of it. They get to learn more about the history of their people, their ancestors that they never really got to grow up knowing. And we get to tell these stories and teach people about them from our point of view.
Yeah.
And we get to play the roles as well.
Yeah.
So I feel, I definitely am loving where we're going and where we are right now. So there is definitely, I think, a market for it and a demand for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has your friend structure and your support structure grown from being here, from varsity life to getting into the industry to going abroad? Because I mean, you joined the cast of Lion King practically straight after varsity. Yeah. How have those connections grown and changed?
The friends I had in varsity, so I don't have a large group of friends. I don't have a lot of friends. Like if I had a party, I don't know who I'm going to invite. But the friends that I had in varsity, like by my last year, are still my friends today.
Oh, awesome.
And I hardly get to see them, because of how busy I am. But those guys, those are my friends. Even if I haven't seen them in months, I can call them up and it's like we spoke yesterday.
Yeah.
My family they're my friends.
Yeah.
They're like my immediate friends.
Yeah.
I speak to them every day. I see them almost every day. So they're my support.
Yeah.
Because I go home and I have them. Even when I'm at work and things aren't going well, I call them. So I guess my family and then my friends come right after.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I don't have a lot of friends, is because I have my family.
Yeah.
So I don't always feel the need to have other people because they're right there.
Yeah.
So I have everything I need in them. But I have a very small group of friends and my girls, that's my family. That's my nieces, my mom, my sisters.
Yeah.
And then my brothers sometimes. They're not busy with their lives.
Yeah.
But that's my support system. Those are my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to what we originally were talking about.
The reason we're here.
Yeah, but it's been so nice because the conversation just goes and goes into all these spaces. But one thing that I found very interesting, if I look back at like my studies, is seeing how, because I was a BITS, seeing how students there have been approaching theatre versus the students at the Market Lab, for example, and how different students place a different level or kind of importance on actually studying for the arts. And then I have friends who are in the industry who didn't study, who just like casually walked in and ended up, being at the right place at the right time. How important would you say is it to actually study in these industries?
I believe if you have the means, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like it will always set you apart from the rest because you understand what goes into creating a production. You understand the prep that an actor has to go through in order to create a production, because you also get to experience it a lot in varsity with all the productions you get to do, before you get into the actual industry. But also, not everyone's able to pay for them. And I always say that if you, there are a lot of people who go to community groups and that's where they started from. And I believe that that's just as important, and it's just as valuable as well. So any opportunity one can get to actually learn more about their craft, definitely, and if there are no opportunities, then you find opportunities, especially like if it's free. People always kind of have workshops and you want to put yourself around places like that and around people like that as well. I believe it's your craft. You need to really find ways to work on it. You know, everything's online.
Yeah.
That some people do. You know, go to theater spaces, meet people, talk to people. You know, if you want to be in it, be around it.
Yeah.
You know, so training and studying, I believe, is absolutely important.
Yeah.
Absolutely important. But some people haven't, and some people kind of land in it, and
Yeah.
I believe that's their destiny.
Yeah.
You know, that's where their path had to go, and some people learn on the job.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
they're blessed enough to be equipped from the experiences that they get. So
Yeah.
it's always different for different people. And I never judge anyone on how they kind of got into it. I just believe that if you're meant to be there, you're going to find your way there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I know the Market Lab, I think it was a year or two ago, started, because I mean, they've always been very theatre based.
Yeah.
And I mean, the lab has grown from being purely performance to doing writing and directing and everything. And quite recently they started screen acting. I think it was in 2020, and it was as a reaction to COVID and everything that was happening. What would you say is the biggest difference between acting on stage and acting on screen?
The momentum of
Okay.
how things are done.
Yeah.
With theater, you get to the theater, you know, you have to get into hair, makeup, costume, and you have an entire show
Yeah.
with no stops, unless you have an interval. But television and film, it's so like disjointed.
Yeah.
It's so weird. You
Yeah.
know, I think that was my thing when I started, that this is here, that's there. And,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, where is my mind at? You know,
Yeah.
sometimes don't shoot in sequence.
Yeah.
You know, and then you really have to have your mind on properly, because you need to remember the journey, your emotional journey, where you were at this point or just before this scene, because we're only shooting that in 2 weeks, you know, so it's all so crazy. But
Yeah.
it's definitely that's the biggest difference. And also the fact that there's so much waiting.
Yeah.
You know, you spend less time in front of the camera than off the camera.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? You spend more time waiting for the setup than being in front of the actual camera, which
Yeah.
is so crazy for me. But there's also something fun about it. I don't know. I think it's the environment,
Yeah.
maybe. You know, but I think that's the major difference.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just set up really differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause that was, I know the first time I realized that things aren't necessarily shot in sequence, I was watching an interview, and I can't remember who it was with, and they had a few of the cast members on, and they mentioned something about, you know, filming the last scene of the film and then coming back like halfway in, and I was like,
What?
you mean you don't just, I don't get that.
Yeah.
How do you go back and channel what happened before?
So, I don't want to butcher. Natalie Portman, I think it was Natalie
Yes.
Portman. Natalie Portman said, and I took this from her.
Yeah.
What she does on her script is that before each scene, she writes what the previous scene was and how she felt in the previous scene.
Okay.
Because also sometimes you're in the third scene, not in the fourth scene, but you're in the fifth scene.
Yeah.
So you kind of also need to remember how the third scene was to how your next scene is. You know, so she just writes down her emotional journey, where she was before that scene took place, and just so she refreshes her memory. So she'll be like, okay, so we got into a fight, I was livid, you know.
Yeah.
I cried in my anger, and this. So when she gets to that scene, she remembers, oh, okay, so this is how I felt. Or if it's that way,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, you kind of have to go through this scene first. And it's crazy because when you read it, you may not feel the same way when you're on set, you know, but it's really just trying to put yourself in the scene before you even shoot it, so that you're able to shoot the scene that comes after it.
Yeah.
You know, so what I do is I mark it on my script.
Okay.
So I have a script, and then on the side I have just blank paper where I just write everything that my character is going through or
Yeah.
has gone through, so I remember for the coming scenes
Yeah.
or the previous scene.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's a bit of a mind.
Yeah. Well, what's also been fascinating me lately, because I got into this thing where I started watching interviews with everyone because it's become so cool to see the journeys they go on and how they approach their roles. And one person who I found particularly fascinating, and yes, it's stereotypical because obviously the gay guy is going to love Gaga, but I mean, when she talks about House of Gucci, and she always talks about how she was stuck in this character for so long and how she would, speak to her parents and friends and everyone as Patrizia, and she had the accent and everything. Do you go through a similar journey, or do you completely disjoint from your character while you're not actually on set?
So I used to do that. I used to completely come off of it, especially after a day on set, where I go home and I'm totally Nox. Especially when I'm with my family, because my family really just brings me back to Nox.
Yeah.
But there was one character that I shot, Tara. I don't talk about it now because it's out. But on Sultan Siege, where we were all in Pretoria.
Yeah.
So I never went home after work. And I was in her for the duration of the shoot.
That I wouldn't stop until I avenged them. That choice.
I had her confidence. I had her, she oozes confidence and just
This is bad.
a sexy, masculinity where you look at it and you're like, this woman is hot. She just has that about her. And I felt so much like that around that time, until I went back home and you see your mom, see your nieces, and you kind of go back to being Nox. But it was a different experience because if I answered that question before Silverton Siege, I'd say I definitely come off of the character very easily. But with Tara, I was just feeling a different kind of power at the time, and so I think maybe it depends on how far deep I go into the character, and how much time I spend with the character. And if I spend a lot of time with the character, then I guess I don't get out of it easily. And sometimes you learn certain things from the role, that you kind of adopt because this works for me. I mean, it's not a conscious decision. It just almost kind of happens. I guess both ways. It really depends on how I get into the character.
Do you think that there's a almost like a kind of danger of losing part of yourself within that character? Because I mean, like you just said, there's this possibility of adopting certain things. Do you think there is that sense of danger in it, of walking away from a character and adopting something completely and having lost something about yourself?
Yes.
It's
really important to have a way of switching off. Because some roles maybe aren't so clean. Not so great for you. So it's very important. I think there could be a danger in it because we immerse ourselves in these characters. We feel the same things. So if you are able, some people do therapy after roles that really push them to feel things that they probably tried to let go of, or feelings that they never experienced before. Therefore, it's so hard to kind of come out of it, because we adopt everything of these characters. So yes, there is a danger. I mean, if it's a good thing that you can take from the character, then that's always great. If we don't need it, let's leave it. Let's leave it behind. You know what I mean?
So I hope that we have people who watch this interview who take on all these little tidbits of gold that you're just dropping, because I think, like you said, anywhere you can learn is a good place to learn from and to expand your craft. But what is the one piece of advice that you would give to someone either trying to enter into the stage or screen, or maybe even transitioning? What is that one thing you learned that you would hope to pass on?
This is probably something I live by, because I'm trying to think of something else, and I always come back to, you need to firstly, you need to equip yourself with skills. Anytime you are able to equip yourself with more skills, do it. I mean, I'm the kind of person that I want to learn everything.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll go to the shooting range. I'll
Yeah.
do taekwondo. I'll do jiu-jitsu. I want to learn how to ride a horse. You know what? Just things that could really help you in your craft and on your journey. Because sometimes you play a role half butt, you know, because you're not really equipped with what they may need. So I'm always like learning about different cultures, learning different accents, you know. Moral of it is to work on your actual craft. Doing more lessons. You know, if you can do acting lessons, even if you've been acting for years, it's a thing you need to work on still. You know, you still want to grow and find new ways of tackling new characters, you know, so you don't find yourself that you play roles the same way the whole time, you know, because that can happen. Nox is a style of acting. You want to be able to surprise yourself as well and get into things that you never could do, you know, or thought you would be able to do. So it's really paying attention to what is needed, what you need as an artist, and what you want to be able to give, so that you can work on what you want to give, so you can give more, you know. So yeah, it's definitely that, and that it's not an easy industry for everybody, you know, and we're not all going to make it at the time we want to make it in the industry, and learning to realize that people's journeys and paths are not the same is going to help you a lot, you know. It's going to help with rejection and realizing that it just wasn't yours. And I always believe that when you want something, it will always want you back. If you give something love, it will give love back to you. You know? And some people are always like, but this industry doesn't love me. You know, I've been auditioning, and I'm just like, you're auditioning with not the right attitude. You know, sometimes you want things and it's not yours. And you need to let it go. You know, or else it's gonna consume you. And I say this from experience. And even after everything I've achieved, it happens that I'm in a position where I'm like, why am I not getting this? Why am I not getting this? And it's like, let it go. It wasn't yours. It wasn't meant to be yours, and that's why you didn't get it. You know. So, but you have to continue loving it. And working through it, working on it. You know, until that moment where it comes, and everything always just falls into place. When you change your attitude as well. So. And it's a whole lot that I just said, but I always believe they're all connected somehow. You know, they're all connected somehow. And it's a journey that one needs to go through, but it's something you can't give up on, especially if you love it. So you gotta do it.
I'm going to pull out this fabulous orange-red cover phone because apparently this gay man has no memory and cannot remember what the questions were. So, question 1. What are you most grateful for?
My life and my family.
I like it. Question number 2. What are the rituals you perform to get into character?
There's a bit of dancing. But I pray.
Okay. Number 3. Who's got your back in life?
My family.
My
family.
I
learned the hard way, God, because I thought he wasn't there. Sorry about that. But
we all go through our journeys.
No, that's but my family definitely. But if it's someone I'm not seeing, it's definitely God.
Okay. Number 5, and we joked about this, red or yellow?
No! Red or yellow? Where did the blue go? Yellow? Where did the blue go?
Number 6, breakfast, lunch or dinner?
Breakfast.
Why?
It's the first meal, and I really enjoy it.
Okay.
I love eggs, and I love fruits and yogurt and granola.
Okay.
It's like my favorite thing.
I get that. 7, what do you look for in a script?
Just a great story.
Yeah.
A great plot. yeah, something that is interesting to watch and exciting to read. Therefore, I'm excited to play it. Yeah, and it
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
I like
it makes
that.
a whole lot of sense.
Number 8, closed or open auditions.
I've gotten most of my jobs through open auditions.
Oh, really?
All my theatre has been open auditions. And I feel like there's not too much expectation. When it's like closed, they know Nox is coming. They expect you to perform a certain way.
Yeah.
Because, so I like open.
Okay.
It's so weird, I don't know why. But do you like open, Nox? See, I told you, for any question, I'll say the weirdest answers, and then I'm like, I think I'm lying.
But at the same time, I think that first response we sometimes have scares us because we're like, is that really what I think?
Yeah.
And it usually is.
Yeah.
Which actually makes it quite exciting. Okay, this one might be tough. Number 9, dance or acting.
Come on. Oh, come on. Oh, wait. Oh.
Or is it like an equal thing for you?
Dancing makes me happy, man.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's not working. But acting.
It's a tough one.
Yo.
Yeah.
They both make me feel different, but they both make me happy.
Okay.
Nox, would you like to do a dance production right now or an acting production? I'd like to do a dance production. So
Okay.
I'm going to say dance.
Okay. Okay.
Acting's looking at me like this.
How dare she? Number 10, last one. What is your go-to song?
Am I allowed to sing it?
Yes, please
It
do.
has a bit of a swear word.
Yes, and?
I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch, I'm a boss, I'm a shine like glass. I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch, I'm a boss.
Yes, honey.
Definitely my go-to.
I love it.
My go-to.
Honey, it's been so fabulous having you here today. And thank you for sharing your wisdom and your story and your life and for inspiring people out there and for just being awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime.
Thank you for seeing my story worthy of telling.
Of course.
Appreciate that. I believe it is, but it's so lovely to know that someone else thinks that. So I really appreciate
We
it.
definitely do, and I know the viewers are going to love it. So please don't be a stranger. Pop in again soon. You know where my office is. You've been there before. So just come for coffee.
Oh, yes!
I'll make nice coffee.
Oh, it's a date. It's a date.
Yay! Thank you for watching. This was Beyond the Story Takeover Edition with the incredible Nox. We had so much fun having you and we hope that you enjoyed the video. So please click the little subscribe button at the bottom and don't forget to turn on your notifications because you definitely do not want to miss the next video that will be out soon. See you soon.